It's so important because otherwise you get put on a conveyor belt. And you're like, you see this doctor, you're gonna see
Yes.
this doctor, you're gonna do this, you're gonna take that medicine. Like, there's no thinking for self, there's no questioning authority, there's nothing. There's just like,
Welcome to the Multiple Truths podcast. We're your hosts, Holly and Brittany.
This is a space where we can come together healing in community, where we share our self-love journeys, insights, and wisdom.
A space with no hierarchy or judgment, fostering love, compassion, and respect, and where we honor our differences. With open minds and hearts, everyone's truth is welcome here. We are in this together. Let's dive into the episode. Hello and welcome. You're here with Holly, and today I'm joined with Elizabeth Gaudet. She is such a beautiful soul. Oh my gosh, I love this conversation so much. We dive into her story. So, at age 32 and a mom of 3 kids, Elizabeth received a stage 3 cancer diagnosis. And she talks about how, through her cancer diagnosis, she realized there was parts of her life where she actually hadn't been living. And looking back, this cancer diagnosis was actually the greatest gift and an invitation to start living and a deep awakening to start living her life. And yeah, I just had so many chills throughout this conversation. I feel like we can learn so much from this because it shouldn't have to take a cancer diagnosis for us to start living our lives for us. But sometimes it takes that. And yeah, we dive all into that. And it's just so beautiful, such a powerful conversation. So, to give you a little bit more background on Elizabeth, she is a home cook, storyteller, and content creator who took an alternative path to healing after a cancer diagnosis and breast implant illness, also known as BII. Through whole ingredient cooking, seasonal nourishment, and intentional living, she found a way to support her body's healing and redefine wellness on her own terms. Now she's passionate about helping others do the same, encouraging a non dogmatic, intuitive approach to food and well being. She shares her journey along with heritage family recipes reimagined with a seasonal twist on Instagram, inspiring others to explore nourishment with curiosity, creativity, and self trust. And we really dive into releasing all the rules, all the regimens, all the regulations that we place upon ourselves, and really learning how to trust yourself and be your own advocate and live your life for you. So, yeah, and also, I had no idea how prevalent breast implant illness is. So, if you or someone you know has breast implants, definitely listen to that part of the episode because there's not enough research on this. And if you're experiencing some of the same symptoms as she was, definitely look into this because there's not enough information out there on breast implant illness, and it is very common. So I just had full body chills as she was sharing that. I feel like people need to know this too, and we need to be raising awareness around breast implant illness. So yeah, definitely give this a listen. If you or someone you know has breast implants, also send this to them just in case. And also, yeah, if someone you know has cancer, like she has such a beautiful outlook on this. And yeah, be your own advocate and start living your life for you. And we just talk about healing and mindful living and all of that. So I just love this episode so much. Elizabeth is such a light, and is going to help so many people. And yeah, I'm so excited for you to experience her. So, with that, let's dive in. Well, welcome, Elizabeth. I'm so excited to get a chance to chat with you today. Thank you so much for being here.
thank you. It's such an honor. Thanks so much for asking and having me tell my story.
Yes. So, I want to start out. So, I know that you were 32 and a mom of 3 kids when you first received your stage 3 cancer diagnosis, which I can imagine that was like a life altering moment. Like I'm 32 right now and I cannot imagine that happening. And I also don't have kids. So I can imagine that really like rocked your world. And I just have so much compassion for you at that time specifically and now. But I know that you've spoken about how through your cancer diagnosis, you realized there were parts of your life where you hadn't actually been living, and you called it like the greatest gift, like an invitation. So I'd love for you to share what that process, what that awakening looked like for you, and how you navigated that experience, how it shifted your perspective on life. Yeah, just anything you want to share with that.
Yeah, it's such a good question. I definitely saw, I mean, not initially, but when the news settled down, I saw this as, yeah, truly an invitation to explore so many different facets of my life in a deeper way. So it was very much like a portal um, into a deeper dive into how I was living and how I felt I wasn't. And what I mean by that is that I feel like before cancer, there was this part of me, a really large part of me, that was always waiting for my life to begin or for circumstances to be different before I start this hobby or this venture or I have this experience or do I need more financial resource or do I need more time? And just always kind of putting off living. And when you are 32, and I mean, I can't remember the exact age of my youngest, but I had a baby. I had a baby, my youngest. And you are starting to think about your own mortality, unfortunately, and like how long do you get to be on this like beautiful earth, and you just like don't know um how are you going to live. And I just felt like there was so many areas of my life where I was remaining small or compliant with other people or just trying to make other people happy or trying not to offend other people. And it was almost like it gave me permission to just F it all and really just be like, you know what? Like, you could go tomorrow, you could go in 10 years, you can go in 30 years, you could, like, how do you want to be? What do you want your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered? How do you want your kids to see you living your days, whether they're numbered and short or whether they're years long, God willing? And I was just like, you know what? I just need to go try on experiences. And that's exactly what I did. So after, let's see, I had my first year that I really focused on healing, and that was at home in Seattle. But it was just like, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. I haven't wanted to be here for years. Like, let's move to the desert. Let's go have experiences. Let's jump out of an airplane. Like, it also makes you realize, like, what are you really afraid of? You think you're afraid of all these things. You think you're afraid of being judged by others. You think you're afraid of heights. Like, what are you actually afraid of once you've gotten a cancer diagnosis? It really sort of changes your relationship with fear. And so I felt like there was all these things I was afraid to do pre-cancer, and then after cancer, which was a process, of course. It wasn't like right after I got the diagnosis. I was like, yeah, I'm ready to like conquer my fear of heights and jump out of a plane with my husband, which I did, but that took some time.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
um, so yeah, it was a really, I decided it was definitely a mentality that no one gave me, that no one suggested, but it was just like, I'm absolutely going to use this for the benefit of my own good. Like, how can this be a gift? How can this be a portal? How can this bring me back to now? Which is always a gift if you can be in the moment. So yeah, that's what I meant by it being a gift.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that perspective so much. And I think that's so powerful for people to hear if they are just recently diagnosed with a cancer diagnosis or any type of illness, like an invitation to start living, and to stop caring so much about what other people think. And like, what do you want for your life? What do you want your legacy to be? How are you going to start showing up as if you could be gone tomorrow? I think that's so powerful. I love that so much. And I just want to clarify, what kind of cancer were you diagnosed with?
I had stage 3B colon cancer. It doesn't run my family. No one's ever had it. Nothing. So it was really, really wild. No one had had cancer young in my family. No one had had that kind. All the doctors could tell me was that they felt it was environmental. They felt it had taken about 5 years to come to the point that it had. Um, Probably due to some intense stress related events that were going on in my life. Who knows? But yeah, they were just like, we have no idea. We have no idea why.
Yeah, and you're in remission right now, correct?
Yeah, there's no evidence of disease in my body. That's something that I have like routine surveillance for. So I've remained cancer free since 2019.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. Good. Yeah, so happy to
Yeah.
hear that. Yeah, something that's coming to mind too is like sometimes it takes like something life altering like that for us to really realize what's important in life. Like I wish that we could all, and I feel like something I want to take into from actually what you just said is like any of us could be gone tomorrow. Even if you don't have a cancer diagnosis, like tomorrow is not promised. And I think so many of us live our lives in fear and are people pleasing and trying to focus so much on what our life looks like and trying to just appease other people in our life. But like this is your life. What do you want your life to look like? Let's start living for ourselves and living in the moment, the present moment, and really start living. I love that so
Yeah.
much. I think it's so
Yeah, it was
powerful.
this really weird yeah, it was like this really weird permission slip to be like, "All right, go live." But also with that, like, say no. Like, I had to learn to say no to so many things so I could finally say yes to myself, yes to my own dreams, my own desires, my health, like, yeah, I just realized that I just think I had been living for so many other people and so many things that I didn't truly back to values that I didn't truly value because I felt like, oh, well, this is what we should be doing or this is what life is supposed to look like. And after that, I was like, you know what? I'm like burning it all to the ground. Like I don't know about any of this. Like I have to rewrite my story.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I think everyone can learn something from that, regardless of, like I said, if you have a cancer diagnosis, just in life. I feel like something I'm trying to live by too is if it is not like a hell yes, like I feel really excited about it, like it's a no. And I like getting comfortable with saying no because it's really uncomfortable to like be uncomfortable and put your needs first, but it's safe for you to put your needs first and like say no when you mean no. Like I think collectively we need to stop just saying yes to appease other people.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think it was part of it when I look back at my life, those 5, 6 years leading up to my diagnosis, like I was that burnt out mom. I was that yes mom. I was that yes person to everyone. And I really do think that it ran me ragged where I just was not as connected to my body and the sensations and my mind and my spirit as I am now from having boundaries up and saying no to a lot. So when I say yes, I mean yes.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Yeah. I think a lot of us are, especially just like this generation, I feel like we're learning the importance of boundaries and learning how to say no. And like boundaries is such an act of self love and self care too. And I think like getting comfortable with really advocating for yourself and like respectfully saying no. It's not like you have to be like, there's a respectful way to say no to things. And I think it's like, learning how to communicate and learning how to say no when you mean no is like such a powerful act to show up for yourself. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. And a huge thing that we'll probably get to later around a diagnosis, around whether it's cancer, whether it's anything, is like there are so many things that you have to learn to say no to while you reorient your life around your well care and like getting better. Um, but yeah, the boundaries are really, really important. And I didn't actually early on. I felt so much guilt around needing to set boundaries. Like I could tell my like animal primal body needed it, but it was definitely a journey to like be like, no, I can't do that event. No, I can't go and hang out. No, I can't do this for you. No, I can't run that errand. No, I can't do the dishes. Like it was hard, but well worth it. I mean, you really do retrain yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's also why I'm so passionate about inner child work because I work with a lot of my clients in setting boundaries for themselves because oftentimes it's like a younger part of you that so desperately wants to be enough, that so desperately wants to be loved. So you put other people's needs in front of your own because maybe growing up, that's how you received love. If you did what mom and dad told you to do, that's how you received love. So you started putting other people's needs before yourself because you just want to be enough, want to be loved. So a lot of it I feel is like reconnecting to that younger part of you and being like, no, babe, you are safe to say no. You are loved no matter what. I've got you. It's safe to put your needs first. So I feel like inner child work is so deeply connected with like learning how to set boundaries and say no, like letting yourself know you're safe to do that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that you're doing that with your clients. That inner child work has absolutely been like after I got sick, like I became my own baby. Like I became my own, like the child that needed to be taken care of. And it was so healing in so many ways. So it's amazing work you do.
Yeah, it's so powerful. Yeah. And I kind of want to dive into, so I know like obviously you had three children as you were going through, as you were navigating your diagnosis too. So navigating your own diagnosis while also being a mom of three, I feel like that would be so incredibly just like complex. So I'm curious, just like, how did you balance the emotional weight of your healing while also being a mom during that time? Because I just feel like anyone that's going through this could be really supportive for other men or women that are also juggling this right now. So, yeah, just like how did you balance all of that?
It's such a good question. I mean, I won't lie, it was so hard in the beginning. My husband worked a really demanding job, like 70 hours a week, and I was home solo with the kids. Um, I do think in the beginning he was able to get a little bit of FMLA to like work a couple less days a week, but um, it's interesting. I was thinking about this before we hopped on, and it was honestly a really dark and challenging time in the beginning because I was obviously really afraid of like losing my life and not being able to be with my children, and that really took a chokehold on me. And I struggled with, this is really early on, like struggled with panic attacks and horrible anxiety, and then was like, how did I fall into it? What I realized was that, okay, right now, like I felt grateful that at least my children were so young that they were just kind of like oblivious to everything going on. Like everyone was really little. So I felt like that gave me a little bit of space where at least I wasn't getting a lot of like inquiry, like, what's wrong, mom? What's this? What's going on? Um, but I do now, 5 years later, have some grief around. Um, I feel like it did take some time away from my kids, like those really tiny, tender, younger years, especially with my youngest, because I was so full focused on healing. I really kind of did have to move my mothering around. That was so like everything I do is for them. I'm the yes mom. Like I'm on the back burner. I had to rewrite that script with myself, that contract. I had to like rip it up and be like, you've got to put yourself first right now. And that's really hard to do when you have three tiny dependents and your husband's gone all the time. You don't get a lot of family help. Um, but what ultimately really helped me, I wasn't ready for anything like talk therapy. I felt like it just the whole it was so traumatic the way that the diagnosis had happened. It was just so casual, the doctors, like it was such a weird thing. So what ultimately helped me was that I just needed to get some nervous system like care. And I found, shout out to Dr. Jackie Batterman in Seattle, I found the most helpful thing for me was actually seeing Jackie. And so it's a very light form of chiropractic care working along the spine because the spine is connected to all of our different organs, and she really helped me like reset my nervous system through the whole process. I feel like what the cancer industry doctors and I don't know what there's this missing part when you deliver a diagnosis to someone but you don't help them figure out the emotional component that goes with receiving something so terrifying. Like, oh my God, is my life over tomorrow? Like, what do you mean? You just told me this so casually. Like, I need help processing. But I felt like I couldn't do it verbally because I was too overwhelmed. So, what really helped me in my mothering was getting my own body taken care of and just working nervous system. Um, and that helped tremendously with I mean, eventually the anxiety dissipated, the panic attacks completely stopped. Um, and it helped me like reorganize my brain, reorganize my body to allow new habits to form, healthier habits, healthier thought patterns. Um, and all of that was greatly helpful for mothering three small children by myself 5 days a week shortly after a cancer diagnosis. And just reminding myself this wasn't going to be forever, but right now I'm baby number 4. Like I have to put myself first. So NSA was greatly beneficial for, um, yeah, just reorganizing like thought patterns in my body, in my mind, bringing in new habits, and having stuff feel easier is the only way I know how to explain it. Like more natural. Like my body's ready for it. My body's ready for this change. My body's ready for that change. Let's incorporate this. Like taking it slow because it can be so overwhelming. All the amount of information that can come in after a diagnosis of you should do this, you should do that, stop doing that, stop doing that. And you kind of just like can't take it. It's too much. The way that's how I felt, the way that it was being delivered through that sort of Western oncology uh, system. So the nervous system care, I think, is like a number one thing that I would recommend to anyone, just as a starting place while you kind of gather what you're supposed to do next.
Yeah, because I feel like that diagnosis too, it's like so many of us too are living in fight or flight, like living in anxiety, fear, we're like stuck up in the mind. And I think the healing journey that I feel is like the deep regulation of your nervous system so you can like be present in your life. So it sounds like having that deep regulation of your nervous system to get you out of that the mind of the fear, like helping you feel safe in your body to actually be present and like process what was coming through.
100%. And I didn't actually even realize that I think I had been in that fight or flight truly for years, like starting as a single mom and all that I navigated with my first daughter and her father. And I had been stuck in that place for years. I mean, that was the only thing that the doctor like brought to me was like, what's stress wise, like what was going on 5 years ago? I was like, oh boy. So that was really fascinating, though, to go through NSA. I was getting it done weekly for a year. Um, it completely changed me. I mean, it really completely changed my nervous system for the better. Like, I can't recommend it enough to anyone.
Yeah. I love that because, yeah, I feel like so many of us are stuck in fight or flight, like from such a young age, too, and we don't even realize it. And I feel like that's where so much disease comes from is we are stuck in these fight or flight states and our bodies are so revved up all of the time when like our regulated nervous system like should be able to swing between the two, like go into fight or flight and then naturally come back to a balanced state. But I think with the society that we live in, it's like so many of us are stuck in fight or flight. So I really feel the healing journey, like learn the healing modalities of like breath work and meditation and movement and nourishment and all of that can help like start to regulate your body and like feel young emotions like inner child, inner teenage, like these young stored emotions that get stuck in our body. But I love that that was so supportive for you to help you just, yeah, get into that state so you could be present, like with what was coming up for you and like be present with the diagnosis, be with your children. Like that's so powerful that that was so supportive for you.
Yeah, and just even think about like when we make decisions from a really stress scared place versus making decisions from a place where we start to feel safety in our body again. We're probably going to make two different choices, right? Like one might be kind of irrational and sort of like I just need to tame this like wildfire, and the other might just be like I have more capacity to like take a step back and see what I should do next. And that's what that network that the NSA, but the any sort of nervous system care, I feel like provides.
I love that. I've never heard of that before. So that's so good. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and I just wanna go into yeah, because I know, like, healing looks so different for everyone. So along with this, like, how did you approach healing from cancer? Was it through traditional treatments? Was it through holistic modalities? Or, like a blend of both?
It was a blend of both. It took a while. Unfortunately, it took a while to get diagnosed. And so I just have to say, like, if you are navigating some sort of like health crisis, can't get answers, like you really have to be your best spokesperson. You really have to be a bulldog. You really have to like fight to get, I don't want to say fight, but you really have to stand up strong to get some answers and demand them. I was written off for like 6 months to a year, like before my diagnosis. They were just like, oh, you're just a tired mom. Oh, you probably just have hemorrhoids. You had a baby. Oh, you probably just have food allergies. And it's crazy to think that, like, I think nearly a year went by of just no one taking me seriously, um, until I got, more aggressive. And I was like, no, someone needs to look at me. Like, I've had enough of just hearing I'm fine. I'm not fine. Um, so I ended up getting, because I had like digestive issues for, I mean, I just feel like so much of my life, like constantly just like not just feeling not right in the digestive realm. And I got um I got a colonoscopy finally that I pushed for. I was like, you just need to check under the hood. Like, I'm tired of hearing that I'm fine. And sure enough, that's when they found a tumor. So I had a colorectal surgery. They took out like 7 inches of my sigmoid colon and just did a simple resection. I guess it's not simple, but and that was it. And they were like, okay, like we got the cancer. It did end up like in a couple lymph nodes of like they took a whole bunch. And they were like, so we don't know. It could be in your body. It could not be in your body. We think you should just do chemo. And I was like, I don't know. I need to sit with this for a little while. I had my, but like I had also like my faith in that system, just personally for me, like just started feeling off. I remember part of like surgery prep was like, I was like, what do I need to do? What do I need to take to get ready for surgery and like have my best foot forward? And they're like, oh, just drink some Ensure. And I'm like, wait, what? Like Ensure? Like that super sugary, like weird protein, tons of weird oils and stuff inside of it. Like, you want me to drink that? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, so is there anything like that I should do differently with my diet after like this diagnosis? And they're like, no, like food doesn't matter. Like eat whatever you want. And I was just like, oh, this is getting weird. And then I got out of surgery and the hospital brought me like Jello. I think it was like, I don't know. There was definitely Jello. I forget what else there was. And I was like, this is not well care. Like this is not health. Like I don't know what to believe now, like you're telling me that like food doesn't matter, that there's really nothing I can do about any of this. I just have bad luck. I was like, there is just something so off about this. Like I just felt like I needed a great pause. So I had the surgery. I'm still glad that I had the surgery. And I took a couple of weeks, like they had the chemo ready for me and they're like, all right, come get your chemo. And I'm like, okay. I was like, hold on, like, no, how much time do I have to think? And I think I had like 2 weeks. So I researched like a crazy person. And I ultimately just found, through my research, through just sitting with my own heart, that I was not ready to take that gamble with chemo. I didn't want to I just felt like there had to be another way. Like there was no evidence of disease still living in my body. I wasn't ready to put it through something as intense as chemo is. It's really, really, really serious and takes your body through the banger. Um, so I was like, you know what? I feel a bit off about this clinic and I don't really see eye to eye with that, like food doesn't matter or nothing really matters or there's nothing you can do. It just felt really like a really hopeless place. So I was like, I'm going to take a step back. I'll keep my oncology, but I want to build a team outside of them. Who else can I bring onto my team? And I went with an integrative doctor. So they worked closely with my oncologist. It's important to find an oncologist and another doctor that still have respect for each other. Um, and this integrative doctor had a more holistic approach to how to sort of do life after a cancer diagnosis. He prescribed me supplements. We went over diet. We went over exercise. Some of those just like kind of basic things. That was helpful. I'm still on I'm still on 2 supplements that he prescribed. One's like a green tea extract, and the other is curcumin. So I still take those to this day. And yeah, but it's been a really big journey of pivoting and like constantly kind of expanding that care team. Like I still have an oncologist. Oh, and I will say before I move forward that the oncologist was really sweet. My first one, she's like, you know what? We don't have all the answers. So when I told her I don't want to do chemo, and she was like, just like go do you, girl. Like, and I was like, oh, you're amazing. Thank you. Like,
Wow. Yes. That's so nice to hear, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
it was nice to hear that, like, you're right. We all don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. I'm never going to pretend that, like, I know what's better for anyone else. Like, I just know that if I go into something and I feel off about it, I think that our mind is so powerful that that has its own, like energy to the situation. If I'm going to go in with a whole bunch of fear, I just don't even think that that's like a great place to like heal from too. And I don't know that you can go, and it's for any like new person who has just been diagnosed with anything. I don't think that you can go in with full confidence, but I like encourage you to go in with courage. You just have the courage to try. And maybe something doesn't work, and maybe levels don't change, and maybe something has to pivot. Um, but I don't think that you feel like 100% about anything that you do. Try in the beginning. You kind of have to just like keep playing with it and mold it like clay. Like, okay, I'm gonna try acupuncture. Like, I think I like the chiropractic work better. That works for my nervous system. I think the whole process of building out a care team is really feeling out what works best for you. Like, we're all so individual. Our diseases are individual. Our mindscapes are individual. Everyone needs something slightly different. And so I think it's just trying all sorts of different people. I wish that I would have found functional medicine earlier. I found functional medicine in this last year with and that we'll go into that later with BII. But functional medicine has been really, really incredible and has answered so many questions that I couldn't get other doctors to really like. It just wasn't their wheelhouse. Um, but yeah, I have definitely taken a different a different road. I was like, I'm gonna, switch up some food stuff, but I'm gonna do a lot of like, there's like a lot of like emotional upheaval that I feel like needs to get sifted through. And that's been a huge part of my cancer healing. Because I truly feel that my colon cancer had a lot to do with like unfelt and like unexpressed anger. I've just had like so much anger. Yeah, so I've been in my mad girl era, and it's been good.
Yes, hell yeah, get that anger out. I think that's so I love that you touch on that because there's a documentary that I watched around plant medicine, and Dr. Gabor Mate hosts a plant medicine one-on-one um, intensive with this one man that was diagnosed with cancer. And during the ceremony, he let out all of this anger. He's like, I had no idea I was so angry. And he like let himself express it. And then Dr. Gabor Mate gave him a hug and they just held each other. And like he ended up going into remission after that because it was like this unfelt, unprocessed emotions that he never allowed himself to feel. And then some people, like plant medicine, can just break down your ego, break down the walls to allow yourself to feel. You don't need it. It's a tool if you feel called to it, but you can also express your anger without it, just how you're doing. Um, but it was so powerful to see that like a lot of these like unfelt emotions get stuck in our body and they manifest as illness, you know? So I think that That's so powerful that you touched on that. And yeah, I love that you were your own advocate. I think that's so important to be your own advocate. Always trust your own intuition. I feel like we all have an intuition when you really sit with yourself and ask what feels right for me, because you can tell when something feels off, just how you felt off about the food and all of that. So, like, trusting your intuition when it comes to this, and like, yeah, just being your own advocate. I think that's so powerful. And I feel like you touched on something too. I truly believe that the way we're really going to change is like the marrying of Western and Eastern medicine, which I feel like you really did on your journey. It's like, yes, you got the surgery and then went the more holistic route, around like what are the food that I'm eating, like diving into your emotions, like all of that kind of stuff. I think there's so much power in both, but we need both like working together and not separate systems, you know?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think that, and initially I felt pretty angry with the Western side of things and kind of balked at a lot. And I think that was the beginning of some anger that I just needed to go through. Um, but, but eventually, but I have respect for all of it now, and respect for anyone. Like, there's just, everyone has such different needs and everyone has such different values. And I think that's what it comes to. Are you making decisions from your own value system, or are you being told what to do, or have you given your power away that you're like, this person's value systems, I should follow them, I should do this? Like, what do you truly value? And as long as you're like following your own footsteps, like, I just don't feel like you can go wrong. Like, if you really feel like you're doing good by you and you feel sort of like a conviction in that, like, I think that can be really healing. I don't think it's a one size fits all journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's going to look different for everyone, like you said too. And yeah, I love that about making sure you're getting a good team surrounding you too. Like, it's going to take a village, you know? So just trusting the people that you feel called to.
It's so important, because otherwise you get put on a conveyor belt. And you're like, you see this doctor, you're going to see this doctor, you're going to do this, you're going to take that medicine. Like, there's no thinking for self, there's no questioning authority, there's nothing. There's just like, you are put on a conveyor belt and you just don't. I don't know. I wasn't comfortable with it. And I was very much like, yeah, during the day you may go see a doctor, but at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're just stuck with yourself and your thoughts. Like, I like that part. I am also part of the care system. I'm also part of my well care. And um yeah, so, and I'm actually going to be doing a workshop on that soon, where I'm showing people kind of how to go through and build your own well care system, whatever that looks like for whatever you're going through, whether it's a cancer diagnosis or something else. I'll obviously be speaking from a cancer diagnosis and from BII. Um, but it's so important to interview and like come from a more empowered place where you're deciding who you want. Like, who do you want on the journey with you? Not everyone needs to come. And just because you get thrown to a doctor doesn't mean that's the doctor to go with. And I think when you're like diagnosed with something, you're super scared and you're super shut down and you're just like, okay, like, tell me what to do. I don't know what to do. But it's also the most disempowering place to come from. And I don't think you necessarily make really empowering choices for yourself moving forward. And yeah, so there's a little bit of a journey that goes along with that, but it's really important to build a good care team that you feel confident in and trust.
Oh, I love that you're going to be hosting workshops on that. I had chills as you said that. So that I feel like that's going to be so supportive for so many people. I love that. Yes. And I want to dive into like the fear of reoccurrence, because I feel like that's something that many cancer survivors kind of quietly carry. So how have you learned to like hold space for those fears while also choosing to live fully with hope and like continually show up and take care of yourself?
I'm so glad you're bringing it up, because we do quietly carry it. It's very quiet. It can be insanely lonely. And it definitely is real. I actually just posted a reel about it a couple days ago, about this, survivor anxiety, like, and how I manage that now 5+ years in. Um, to being cancer free. And one of the biggest helps for me was this book. I had a wonderful like therapist and life coach at the time, and she recommended this book called Fierce Self-Compassion by Kristen Ness, I think. Are you familiar with it?
I'm not, but I am all about self-compassion. I talk about it all the time, so I love that.
Well, so okay, so I got into therapy, and she's like, "Okay, so it sounds like you just need to have compassion for yourself." And I'm like, "I literally don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know how to access that." Like, everyone's just like, "Oh, be gentle, give grace," and I'm just like,
It's hard. It's hard because something that I've learned too is like we are not self-compassionate by nature. Our nature is survival. So we're constantly looking and searching and seeking, like trying to protect ourselves. Compassion in the old days wouldn't have gotten us far. So it's like, okay, we've evolved so much as humans. We are safe now. So we have to like reach out and learn how to have compassion now for ourselves because it's not something we're hardwired to go to. But there's so much power in like learning to have compassion for yourself, learning to be gentle with yourself, forgive yourself, love yourself. Like I feel like that's a part of the healing journey
Mhm.
is learning how to love yourself and have compassion and understanding and forgiveness. So I love that that was like one of the things that came up for you in therapy. That's so powerful because it is so powerful. It's the medicine. It is the medicine, I feel.
"Oh, it really is." I mean, I'm realizing pre-cancer, I was not a very good friend to myself. Like, and now after cancer, like, I am so sweet. Like, I am so sweet to myself, and like, it's so nice. It's that safety, you know? It's like feeling safe in the body, feeling safe in the mind, feeling safe in the spirit. I didn't have that before learning how to have self-compassion. But that book, Fear Self-Compassion, was so important, to just sort of walk me through all of those craggly feelings that do come up from time to time. They usually come up around scans or something called like scanxiety. I don't I don't get that much anymore. Like, it also changes through time. It does morph. At least it has for me. Um, it's become more subtle. But it can flare up even if you're just dealing with anything that's not related to cancer. Like, you could have a common cold and it can just flare that up. And that's that nervous system retraining, right? Like, of how learning how to become safe in that body again. And so, breathing practices are huge for me. Um, because when you get that diagnosis, like, your body goes into shock, and you just like, it can, at least for me, and goes into this really scared place where it's like, wow, I can't trust myself, I can't trust my body, what can I trust? I can't trust anything. Because it quote unquote failed me. I got cancer. And that's where the nervous system reprogramming to learn how to feel safe in the body, the self-compassion to change those narratives, um, all of that is really, really helpful with that sort of survivor anxiety. And then I just try to remember to stay present. Yeah, anything's possible, I guess. Like, I could get abducted by aliens tomorrow. I could get run over by a car. I could, have cancer could flare up again. But I feel like I have, like, over these past few years, developed more of a relationship with that quote unquote diagnosis or the cancer. I don't like see it as cancer anymore. I see it as like unmet needs. I see it as unfelt feelings. So when I think about it that way, it doesn't scare me as much. I'm just like, you just need to, whatever's coming up for me needs to be felt. Something needs to be expressed. Maybe a conversation needs to happen with someone, or maybe I just need a creative outlet. And like, then it feels like the energy's moving, because I feel like the cancer was stagnant. It was like stagnant energy that wasn't moving through an undigestible morsel. If you go through the German, new medicine conflicts, like, there was a lot that I related to in terms of it just being unfelt things. So as long as I'm keeping my feelings and my emotions moving, I feel like that's health. And then I don't feel so, nervous about reoccurrence.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that so much because it's like what the mind suppresses, the body expresses. And I think now we're like really understanding that, you know? And I think that that's part of like more conversations are being had about the importance of feeling your emotions now, because we realize how much that helps regulate our nervous system, and how much stored trauma and stored emotions get stuck in the body, which is leading to dis-ease within the body, because emotions are just energy in motion. But when we're suppressing our emotions, that energy is just staying stuck and stagnant in our body. So it's like each time you feel, it's like you're liberating a piece of your body, like helping like relieve some energetic weight from your nervous system almost, in a way, you know? So I love that so much that you've come to that you just shared that, because I feel like that's so valuable, and just a way that we can start shifting like our relationship with even like disease and cancer diagnoses and all of that kind of stuff. I just think it's so impactful. So thank you for sharing that. And I think, yeah, the power of the present moment, just being present in your life and taking care of yourself, putting your needs first, and yeah, just showing up for yourself every day. But yeah, I love that so much.
I find that if anxiety does raise, instead of it being, oh no, I have anxiety, it's like, oh, here we go. Here's a little nugget. It usually means I'm feeling disconnected from my body or some way, or disconnected from a need, or just like there's a little something just needs attention. And then as long as you can like tune in and give it that attention or meet a need, it could be like, have you had enough water today? Like, are the animal needs getting met? Do you need a good cry? Like, and as long as you're like meeting those, then the anxiety can start to dissipate. It was definitely a process over those 5 years, but the the goal is about like building more safety in the body and trusting, building trust again, because I think too part of that my experience with the diagnosis and just the doctors, there's a lot of like, you can't do anything about this, there's a lot of this is bad luck, there's a lot of you have no control, and I just don't buy it. Like, I just think there's a, you may not have control of outcomes, but you have control over it to a degree of how you want to navigate something that's coming up for you right now, whether it's an emotion or a scenario. I do think that we do have a bit more control over our well-being than we're told and taught we do.
I agree with you too. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I feel like too what you were talking about anxiety. So from what because I used to struggle with anxiety, obviously very different contexts with no, I haven't gone through cancer, but so I talked to and I like learned so much from this neuroscientist, Dr. Russell Kennedy. So basically, he was saying that anytime we're struggling with anxiety, it's oftentimes like a younger part of us too that needs to be seen. So it's like whenever there's anxiety, it's like an alarm system going off. Okay, how can I pause? How can I take some deep belly breaths to signal to my nervous system that I am safe to drop out of the head into the body? And what part of me needs to come up? There's fear of, fear of the unknown. I'm feeling really scared. Okay, how can I validate that? And then be that nurturing, loving energy, be that parent of like, oh, I got you. We're good. That's valid. I know that you're feeling this. If you need to cry, allow yourself, we can hold space for that too. You get that fear out. And then let's come back to the heart space and to trust and surrender and just be here in this moment. And I feel like oftentimes we just try and push those things away and it gets louder and louder and louder. But it's like, yeah, like how can we just sit with that discomfort and like give that part attention and validation, and then it can kind of like subside, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Pre-cancer me, I'd be like, okay, I guess I'm going to have a glass of wine, or I'm going to go be busy with the kids, or I'm going to find more projects for us to do, or let's go on a field trip. I would chase those feelings away instead of now, like after cancer, I was like, because I love making rituals and I love making games. I'm like, if we're going to do stuff, let's make it fun. Let's make it sweet. It's more like I need that. And so I literally like make it a ritual. I have anxiety. Okay. Let's grab a little what do we have? Skull cap tincture. Let's make a cup of tea. Let's like invite that part to tea. What does it have to say? And it doesn't have to be a 30-minute thing. It could be like literally like a 5-minute ritual to be like, yeah, there's this part of me that experiences anxiety. It's a part of me I accept. It has a little something. It called me on the phone. It has something it wants to say. It says it and it goes away. Like, You know, you can make it beautiful. You can make it ritualistic. It could be so special, like sitting with your anxiety.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's, I feel like, how you build a deeper connection with yourself, a deeper understanding of yourself and your inner workings and the things that make you anxious, and have that self compassion for yourself too. Yeah. I love that. I love adding in the ritual piece. I love that so much. Oh my gosh. We're interrupting this episode to share something close to our hearts, our virtual healing circles. We have been loving them so much and meeting so many of you incredible people through them. Brittany and I are passionate about bringing people together to support one another and heal in community. We felt alone on our paths for so long, and coming together in community has been instrumental to our growth, and we've both seen the importance in it. We aren't meant to do this alone. In unity and vulnerability, we find strength, courage, and support each other on our paths back to ourselves. Our monthly virtual seminars blend discussions, workshops, and practices to nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Whether seeking guidance, healing, or a listening ear, our gatherings offer a safe, inclusive space for people to connect, heal, and grow. Join us on this journey of healing in community. Together we can heal, grow, and thrive. Register for the next circle using the link in the show notes. We hope to see you there. Well, I want to touch on too. So I know a part of your recent healing journey was getting your breast implants removed after experiencing breast implant illness, right? BII. So first, I feel like I kind of want to first just kind of raise awareness around like what breast implant illness is for our listeners that have or are interested in getting breast implants, just to like raise awareness. Like, is this common? What is this? What is there to be aware of when it comes to this? If you want to touch on that and then dive into like, yeah, how you've been navigating that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I wish I knew about it prior to. It is very, very common. It is wildly common. Oh my gosh, these Facebook groups that I had to become a part of, like there are so many women. There are so many women that deal with it, and it also can be so subtle until it's not. So so I got implants when I was a single mother, like right after I had met my now husband. He was like, "You are so crazy. Like, why are you doing this?" And I was like, I just I need to have a life experience. I'm going to do this. But I also didn't give myself enough time to like get to know my body as a new mother, especially as a single mother. Um, so I was like, I just want my nursing breasts back. I'm going to get implants. And so I did, and didn't have any issues, but will say they didn't bring me the confidence that I was hoping they would. Instead, I just felt like I didn't have my own breasts. It was a very bizarre feeling. Um, but it was not until this last summer I ended up getting mold poisoning from a property that I had stayed in while we were waiting to move to New Mexico. And I got very, very, very ill. Like, I wasn't sick like this with cancer. I was so ill with the mold poisoning. And I found a functional medicine doctor, and we couldn't get me to detox. I just couldn't kick the mold. And we realized that every time I went to detox because of my implants, I was actually retoxing. So all of the chemicals from the implants, there are so, so, so many chemicals in implants, especially in the silicone shell. Mine were saline, but the silicone shell, um, it was leaching into my body, is what we kind of gathered. We're like, wow, you just can't kick this. You kind of can't take anything. My body had become so sensitive. It had developed mast cell activation syndrome too, which we all have mast cells, but mine were turned on. Like, if you think of a mast cell, it's like the terminology they kind of use, it's like the guard of the castle, and I'm the castle. And so anything that's coming in, any sort of foreign object, it fights, but it's fighting so long that these mast cells get confused because they never go to bed. They never go to sleep. So they start seeing things that are like, oh, a banana, let's attack it. Oh, like stuff that you didn't usually have, issues with, a cup of coffee, caffeine, let's attack it. And your body would have flare up like crazy. So I think the mold turned that on. The breast implants turned that on. I could not get better. And I decided that my nervous system needed a little like revamp. So I went to a somatic therapist in town and had something done called zero balancing. I'd never experienced it before. It was absolutely wonderful. But I didn't go in for my breasts. I went in to process anger that I felt was stuck in my body through something that I was going through, a relationship with someone. And I came out of that an hour later, and my breasts no longer felt like I had mentioned that they didn't feel like they were mine. Well, they felt like I needed to grab them and pull them out of my skin. I felt this complete disconnect from my chest space, from my heart space after that somatic session. And it just dawned on me. I got in the car and I was like, oh my gosh, it's the implants. I need to get the implants out. Like, they're covering my heart space. I can't get better. And then I think over the lot, and then it made sense as I did some research in those Facebook groups with a lot of women, that all of these very like brain fog, um, unexplained bits of anxiety that like I couldn't like my ritual wouldn't work for. Like, um, there was hair loss. You know, my doctor's like, oh, you had a baby a few years ago. That's why you're losing your hair. I'm like, what? There was all these sort of like odd things that I couldn't quite figure out what they were from. Um, Even like a lack of like creative drive, or like not being able to take a deep breath. And sure enough, they were all related to BII. I didn't know that something like brain fog, you know, everyone's just like, oh, you're a tired mom. I'm like, is it normal to be this tired? Like, really? This is being a mom? Or is it implants? So, yeah, I got into those groups, did some research, and ultimately, like, I didn't realize how unwell I had been feeling until after. I literally woke up from my surgery. So, like, the point of deciding that I needed to get it done, I think I had surgery later that month. Like, it was just 3 weeks. It happened so fast. And yeah, it was amazing. When I woke up from surgery, I took my first deep breath in. I'd had them for 9 years. I took my first deep breath in 9 years and just like burst into tears. Like, I didn't realize that like my nervous system was also struggling because I couldn't breathe properly. I could, like, when I would do yoga, when I'd go to a yoga class, I could never fully get a deep breath. Or when someone would tell me like, we're going to do breathing practices, I get anxiety about that because I'm like, I literally can't do it. Like, I can't do it. I can't breathe. I don't know why. And I thought it was something wrong with me, and it was literally having implants on my chest. And
Yeah. Do you think it was like the weight of the implants on your chest?
yeah, I think they were like, that was a few pounds. Like,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't have
Yeah.
naturally big breasts at all. So it was that, but they're also, I mean, they're a neurotoxin too. There's so much in there that, you know, messes with your brain. So like brain fog and depression are really common. And I had become really depressed in ever since the mold. Um, like, just uncharacteristically down. Um, and I've literally not felt any of it, any any of it since removing the implants. I have so much more brain capacity. I have more capacity for my family and my kids. I have more creativity than I ever had. I don't have any more digestive issues. Um, like, it's wild. There's quite a long list of issues that I was having, but there's no testing for BII, so it really is based on symptomology, and there's just a very long list. And unfortunately, a lot of women also get diagnosed with these autoimmune issues like um, fibromyalgia and Hashimoto's and like all of these different things, but what they're actually dealing with is implant illness. And you'll see that a lot of women take their implants out, and what do you know? Their symptoms are gone. They don't actually have these issues that they're being treated for. Or if they do, they can like go into remission or just like completely change. But implants are, I don't think they do anything good for anyone's body, unfortunately. I don't think there's any way around it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I think that's so powerful for people to know, especially for women that have implants and they're experiencing those kinds of symptoms instead of thinking like, oh, I'm just a tired mom or I'm just a tired person. It's like that could be the breast implants may be causing that. So it's something to look into. I think that there's not enough research done on this, obviously, and not enough like people talking about it. So I think raising awareness around this is so incredibly important for women and for women to know if you're going into, if you're considering getting breast implants, like really sitting with that decision, sitting where is that coming from too, because realizing what it can do for the body. And then I know you mentioned too, you thought you'd get these implants and it would bring more confidence, but you didn't, you felt like these were like foreign objects. And I think a lot of the times, not all the time, and there's no judgment here, but I think that's like what a lot of women think. It's like, oh, I'm going to get these boobs, I'm going to be confident. But and I can totally see that, but I think it's like understanding that confidence comes from within too, like just as much as it comes from the body, like it also comes from within. Like you can change things externally, but if you don't change what's going on within you, that it won't have as big of an impact as you believe. um so I think just being really honest with yourself, like going into that and like, yeah, just knowing what could potentially happen if you do get breast implants. Again, no judgment here, doing what feels good for you. But I think that this is so important to know before, prior to getting that surgery. Um, and just what I love that you mentioned is after you went to that somatic therapist and you did like, you got like anger out. I feel like every time we feel an emotion and get like these deep seated emotions out, we're building that connection back to ourselves, building that connection back to our bodies. So it feels like there's even like a piece of you that came more home to your body. And then it was like, oh my gosh, like being in your body and like feeling the breast implants within you and being like, oh my gosh, I need to get these out. I think that's so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also want to mention for, I was I had known about breast implant illness for probably like the last couple of years. And I'm going to fully admit, I was like, I don't want to be one of them. I want to keep my implants. I knew that I had to get to a certain point though, where I was like, am I really going to renew my subscription? And I was like, no, I don't think so. I don't want to keep having surgery. But once again, I was like, this is another invitation to to get to know yourself even deeper, because we get these implants from a place of my breasts aren't good enough. Like my body is not good enough. Something needs to change. I went in with when I went into it with like, sort of a playful attitude, but deep down it was that I felt like my breasts should look different after having and breastfeeding a child. And there will be feelings that come up when you're just like, am I not feeling well? Do I have breast implant illness? There's also this other side of like, oh wow, I'm gonna have to come to terms and come meet the woman that felt like she wasn't good enough. Like that part of us, we all went in wanting something different for our bodies, and they're gonna come out and our bodies don't necessarily go back to what they were. Like they're different. They've gone through a lot. They had implants. Maybe they nursed more children. Like, maybe you get a lift and you have scarring. It's an opportunity that I would not shy away from, even though it can feel so overwhelming, because we kind of go in with already having a little bit of a body image um, sort of conflict with ourselves. But it doesn't mean that you are going to remove those breasts and still have that conflict. It can be an amazing invitation to see how incredibly beautiful your body is. After 3 kids and removing implants and cancer, feel like the hottest version of myself now than I did when I had implants, when I wasn't feeling that great. Like I had this like awakening where um after seeing myself for the first time without my implants. And I was like, I've been designed, I've been designed by universal forces, whatever you believe in, like by nature, to look like this after having breastfed 3 children. That is like ultimate perfection. That would mean it's perfect. It doesn't need anything else. If I was designed to be this way, to look this way, that I think to me is in essence perfection. I just bought a different version of it, that was manufactured by someone else with completely different values than I have. And for anyone that might be struggling out there that has implants, that is on the fence or thinking about it, there are amazing Facebook groups, but also nothing is hotter than being healthy. Like I feel 20 years younger. Like I feel like I'm like 20. When I was before my implants, I felt like I was 100. I was like, am I going to die soon? Like, what is going on with me? Like, I felt old. I had bags under my eyes. I never wanted my picture taken. And now I just like feel so much younger. Even my kids tell me I look younger. My husband, they're like, you look so much younger.
That's so crazy. I feel like too, it just feels like you're more embodied in your true essence than you've ever been. It just feels like that from just the way that you've been speaking, which that can just bring a vibrancy that nothing else can. Being truly embodied in your true essence is just like the most beautiful, vibrant thing that you can imagine. So, yeah.
Looking to connect with like-minded community on your journey of self-growth, self-love, and spiritual discovery? Join the Beehive, a supportive community hosted by Holly and I, designed to help you on your personal transformation and healing journey, and to help you tap into your innate wisdom with live monthly Q&A sessions, exclusive content, and a like-minded community. The Beehive is the perfect space to grow and step into your most authentic self. For more information and to sign up, check the link in the show notes.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, because I just think, yeah, it's like in society we're perpetuated specifically for women to like feel like we need to look a certain way to be worthy of love, and we're impressionable, and a lot of us don't have the healthiest relationships with ourselves and are looking constantly outside of ourselves to feel better. And someone could go in and get breast implants and be from a very empowered place. But I think it's just like seeing the freedom that can come from if you are feeling called to get them removed. Like there's so much freedom that can come from that. And I think just like embracing the beautiful body that you have, it's perfectly designed for you. We don't need to constantly be nitpicking our bodies and getting all of these surgeries and all of this stuff to make them look different. Like they are beautiful just the way that they are, And I think that like us as women coming together to really like embrace our bodies and love our bodies, and like, yeah, I just think that there's something really, really powerful with that. So thank you for sharing that. I love everything that you
Thank
shared.
you. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's been a good journey. It's still
Yes.
very new. It was only in November, but it's really good.
Yeah. And I know, just last question, well, I want you to first touch on, so I know that you're kind of like working with right now, you're working with like inherited family cookbooks and like modernizing old recipes and reconnecting with your roots to like bring more joy to nourishment and to meals and all of that. So if you want to share a bit about that, I know that's you're bringing more like joy to food. Is that a project you're currently working on, right?
Yeah, so it's called Hill Road Kitchen. That was a kitchen I grew up in, in Northern California. My grandparents had a country house, and my grandparents were like they were like my safe haven when it came to like food and teaching me how to cook. I came from sort of I don't want to say like militant, but I came from a very health conscious family, to the point that I don't think it was healthy for me. I think it was really confusing for me growing up. But with my grandparents, it all felt like healthy, but like in a beautiful and not like super managed way. My grandma, who I'm incredibly close to, she passed away a few years ago, and I inherited all of her, or some of her cookbooks, and some even like family logs from like back in the 60s of like my great great aunt and all the things that she would cook up and serve other people. And there was this theme of it being a lot of seasonal food, obviously. And I know my grandparents, they were big into gardening, and I'm huge into gardening. And I don't know, it's just something really, isn't it amazing how like we can still remember people that are gone, or still feel close to people that are gone through way of nourishment, through way of like food. Like it's amazing how like food can just like connect people through generations. And so I was like, what a fun project if I like bring back to like stay connected to my grandma, to stay connected to family, bring back some of these like cookbooks, work through some of these like as a way to get to know her and get to know my family, you know, like, oh, let's like cook up this recipe that has a whole bunch of splotches on it. Like, I don't remember eating that. Or I remember this thing she used to make all the time. Like, let's try recreating it, but with ingredients that like are in my daily life now as a cancer survivor. And also, you know, like I'm really big into, you know, when I think about eating for healing, I think about eating seasonally, like just like keeping it really simple. Like what's in season? Like what's in front of you right now? Like what's rich in the earth right now? Like you can't go wrong with that. And that's what this kind of cooking project is getting my garden started here in New Mexico, and using a lot of seasonal ingredients to recreate these family recipes. So sort of putting my own spin on it, um, and teaching people like how to enjoy food again and like how to have pleasure in food and make food beautiful. I feel like especially when you go through something like a diagnosis and you're just like, okay, stop eating that and you need to eat that and you need to eat that, it really can become awful and stressful. At least
Yeah,
I
like so
found that.
restrictive.
Yeah, I found
Yeah, cause
yeah,
more stress. Yeah.
yeah, the first year of cancer healing was very like I went really hardcore and I was just like,
Mhm.
this is not this is not sustainable. Like this is
Like
at the point.
meaning like only eating only whole foods, getting rid of additives, oils, just so people know, like, is that what you mean by hardcore?
So when I for the diagnosis, I had cut out all sugar, all refined sugar, you know, refined grains, meat, dairy, gluten, seed oils, alcohol. What else? I think that was it. And so I ate a very plant-based diet, which I had already been doing. Like I had been like vegan and vegetarian and raw. Like I had done all of that stuff, you know, throughout my 20s and grew up in a very like tofu brown rice household. Um, but it was becoming not fun and it was becoming stressful. And I was like, this can't be the path to healing, like just feeling burnt out, and I had like developed like a food anxiety almost, where I was like, what's safe to eat? What can I eat? Oh my gosh, is this gonna send me over the edge? And I think a lot of people don't want to admit in the wellness world that you can get to that place that I think then is unhealthy, where you're too obsessive. So over the last few years, it's very much been like, you know what? I want to bring play back to food and I want to bring pleasure back to food and intuition and like, what does my body need? Like what my body needs is not maybe what Susan, the raw food enthusiast, needs in her life right now. I had a period of time where that worked for me and now it doesn't. You know, I still don't eat refined sugar. I still um, don't have seed oils. I try to limit processed food. Um, I eat meat now. I eat meat when my cycle needs it. If my moon time is about to show up, I'm usually craving a steak. I need to get it from a farm. I'm not going to go get it from Albertsons. Like there's, and you know, there's definitely, it's been like a process of finding what works for me. And I just would encourage like anyone to just play with it. Like play, like what does your body need? Like obviously you get the testing and maybe you need certain minerals or vitamins, but there's, I don't know, the like there's so many food dogmas out there and especially online. Like it's kind of a crazy, stressful, exhausting place. At least I found it to be. And I was just like, I really just want to show people how to make food again. If you have to go through like a food allergy situation or whatever, like, how can we still make it beautiful? Are you, you know, do you have diabetes? How can we still make it beautiful? Did you just get a cancer diagnosis? Like, how can we make it beautiful? Like, how can we enjoy nourishing ourselves again? And that's what kind of this whole project that's growing its own like limbs and arms and whatnot is about. is bringing pleasure back to food, pleasure back to nourishing ourselves, making it beautiful, making it ritualistic, and making it tailored just to you, by you, from you, you know? Instead of following rules and then you feel like you failed or you fell off and then you beat yourself up. Like that's not well care at all. So there's a
Exactly.
lot
Yeah,
of
that causes
compassion.
so much more stress.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
The
that's sort of that
compassion.
project. And I think I'll be doing some workshops around that too, especially with intuitive eating. I had used to be an emotional eater. I don't subscribe to that anymore. I don't feel any of that in my body anymore. But I got to that place from like understanding my hunger. Like I know my hunger now. I know if I need a hug. I know if I need a good love making session. I know if I need actual food. I know if I just need to make art. I know if I just need a phone call. Like I understand hunger in a way that I never used to understand it. So really teaching people to do that through seasonal eating, playing with food, making things beautiful, and what are you really hungry for? So that's going to be that project.
Oh, that's so needed. And I love that so much because I think that's something where I've gotten to a place of really finding balance within food because I used to be so restrictive. I used to like have an eating disorder, only eat healthy foods, like was so restricted and so regimented. And that was not healthy. I think when you get so into that space, that also is unhealthy. So, something that I've really found is like intuitively eating, connecting back in with myself, learning how to intuitively eat and finding balance with food. It's like, I'm allowed to have ice cream if I want ice cream. There's a lot of joy that can come from ice cream. It's not bad. It's like finding that right balance. Cause I think anytime there's restriction, it will always lead to like overeating at some point too, or just like that restriction mentality is just so unhealthy. So I think as being in the holistic health space, it's like really finding that right balance with food, like nothing really being off limits. It's like listening to your body moment by moment and giving it what it needs instead of living by rules and regulations. So I hope more people move towards that space because any sort of radicalization is unhealthy. It's like we have to meet in the middle and like balance with everything. And I think the biggest component is like bringing back that joy, that play, and like helping people reconnect to themselves and their bodies so they can get in tune with their bodies to give it what it needs. Just like, because I work with a lot of women that struggle with emotional eating, binge eating, and it's like, how can you sit with yourself and be with yourself? And exactly what you said. Sometimes it's you need a hug. Sometimes you need to make love. Sometimes you need a bath. Go for a walk. It's like, how can we get so in tune with ourselves and give ourselves what we need instead of giving our power away? So food can just be a sense of nourishment and also another form of pleasure, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I
So,
love that so much. That's amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really
and so
beautiful.
we're very much aligned. Yeah, I love that you're working on that project. That's going to be so beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. And just it's another thing in, the cancer healing and the health healing. It's just like where are you restricting yourself of living? Like where are you restricting yourself of pleasure? Like when I first got sick, I was like, I don't really know how I'm going to do all of this, but I think the very first thing that I want to work on and acknowledge and sit with is like, what is pleasurable for me anymore? I don't even know. Like, what do I enjoy? What do I love? Do I actually like this food? Do I actually like that hobby? Like, what? Like, getting to know pleasure again in my body, outside of my body, in my life, in food. And I just think whatever, health thing you might be dealing with, like, is it a life well lived if at least you, like, are, allowing yourself to access pleasure? Because you could live a really long time, I guess, and maybe just like keep yourself from everything and build all of these fears and anxieties. But is that a life well lived? Like, I don't know. It isn't for me. So I just think that pleasure is like a sauce that doesn't get tapped into. Um, when it comes to like healing medical, like cancer. Like no one's thinking like, all right, go figure out your pleasure. Like what turns you on in life? Like, that's not really asked.
Yes. No, it's so important. And that like, yeah, that play, that joy, the pleasure, like, oh my gosh, it's medicine. And it's also like joy, childlike like joy is medicine for our inner child. And then pleasure is like women, we are meant to be living in our pleasure. You know, we're meant to be really connected to our pleasure. That's when we're creative, abundant, you know, connected to ourselves. And I think just in the society that we've created, it's like so many women are disconnected from their power, disconnected from their bodies. And it's like, I think that a lot of women are doing the healing work to come back into their bodies and reclaim their pleasure. Cause I think that that's like when we are in our power. So I love that you're on that journey. I feel like it's a common theme that's coming up for a lot of women that I'm talking with. I think we're like really reclaiming that and seeing the importance of play and pleasure and joy and balance and all of it.
Yeah, and just that there's no rules. Like, I know for me, my biggest struggle is, I'm not a workout girly. Like, I don't love a regimented, like, workout. Like, I love how I feel afterwards, but, like, for me, what I've realized, because that was something the doctors recommended, they're like, "Exercise, exercise." I'm like, "Cool." I don't want to go to the gym. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I grew up in gyms too, so I just think like I'm over it. But for me, I was like, oh, workout for me is like dance or it's yoga or more recently like it's hiking. Like I moved to New Mexico. I just want to hike. That's my workout. And so but that brings back that pleasure piece. Like you're not going to keep doing a good thing for your body, like working out if you feel like it sucks, you know? So it's like what does that pleasure look like for you? There's no rules. Write your story, like write your script and just like enjoy yourself. Because like if I have to follow some strict food thing or some strict workout thing, I'm going to burn out in 6 months. Like I'm not going to keep going. And this is like how do you make this a sustainable life? A lifestyle that you like love, not that you feel like you have to do. There's a big difference.
And what came to mind too is like gardening is like a workout, you know, and I know you love to garden. You said you love to garden. Like that is a workout too, you know, and something that brings joy. And yeah, I think yeah, I love that because it doesn't have to look a certain way. It's like whatever feels good for you. I love that you said dancing because like yeah, dancing, Zumba, whatever feels good. It's just like moving your body in whatever way feels true and good for you. And yeah, just like taking care of yourself from a place of love and not from a place of hate, like doing it from a compassionate place of, I'm going to move because I love my body. I'm going to eat because I love my body. And what does it need right now? There's no rules, no regulations, no way it needs to look. I think it's like giving people the permission to look inward of like, what do I need, you know? And like, not and be honest with yourself. But I think we've just given our power away to like what things need to look like. Um, so yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I love this conversation. Yeah. Is there anything that we missed that you would like to add?
No, this was it. This was like so wonderful. And I'm just so grateful you gave me a container to just like share my story from the last 5+ years. And no, this has been amazing. Just like, thank you so much. It's been so great to hear about your work too. And yeah.
Well, I want to just put where can people find you? I know you're on Instagram. Do you have a website? I can like put everything in the show notes, but if you want to say where people can find you.
Don't have a website yet, working on that, but you can find me. I am the Ma Southwest on Instagram. And that's where, my upcoming workshops and the Hill Road Kitchen series and, everything gardening, homeschooling, unschooling, cancer healing. It's all going to be there.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Well, just thank you so much for sharing your story, for being vulnerable and open. And yeah, just for your time and your energy and your light. I just feel like everything that you've been through is going to support you so much in supporting other people. Like, I just feel that so deeply. You've gone through so much. And I feel like you've gotten to this place to like really help other people get to the other side. And I'm just, yeah, I'm so proud of you for all the work that you've done. And yeah, I just appreciate you for your time.
This is absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. It was so good to connect with you.
You too. Beautiful. Well, thank you all so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday. As we wrap up today's episode, we want to extend our deepest gratitude for joining us on this journey. Your support does not go unnoticed. If you enjoyed this episode and find value in our conversations, please take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback not only helps us grow, but also allows us to reach more people who can benefit from our community of healing and support. Every review, every rating makes a difference. Thank you for being a part of the Multiple Truths podcast family. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Multiple Truths podcast. Keep speaking your truth and spreading your light. We love you, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday.